Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of my seasonal 7 series where I post 7 videos and 7 days leading up to and themed around the summer solstice. So, if you've been following along, then you know what today's video was supposed to be is my observances video. However, that's not happening. It's not happening. It's not happening. There's a whole story that I'm not gonna waste your time explaining because I could fill a video with this week's. Like, this week has been the seasonal 7 series of unfortunate events. And I feel like I'm fighting all of everything just to make these videos. It is currently 8 p.m. June 18th, which is the day this video is supposed to go up. It'll probably be live at, I don't know, 11 or something, depending on how fast I can get through this. And yeah, this is my first opportunity that I've had to film today's video. Anyways, it's been a wild ride. So I don't have time to do the observances video because the observances video is a lot. I have to film a lot of additional shots. Tomorrow I'm supposed to go shoot a wedding. So I have to be out by noon and I won't get home until 9. So my plan is to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow and shoot and edit the entire thing before I leave at noon. That's the plan. Anyways, so today we're gonna do my quarterly book review instead because that's what the fuck I have time for. This is a series that I've been wanting to start and I want to do quarterly book reviews where I go over all the books I read that season and kind of give them brief reviews. Now, full disclaimer, I have not read very much at all this season. Spring has not been a reading season for me. I have bulked the pile up a little bit and I will explain why and which and how I've chosen which books to add, etc, etc. But yeah, I read 3 books this season. Not real proud of myself. So let's get into it, shall we? Alright, so the first book is one of my new favorites. It's like my top 5 of all time now books. I've been recommending it to pretty much everyone. And that is Eckhart Tolle's A New Earth. Now, one of the ways I'm booking or like bulking up this book list for recommendations is I am also including his other book, The Power of Now. Now, I read this 2 years ago, I think, and this is fantastic also. So if you have not read this one, I'm sure you've heard of it. If you haven't, definitely check it out. Power of Now is one of those like over 5 million copies sold. Like this book is popular. This one less so, but sad to me that it's not because it's so good. So The Power of Now is really about like presence of mind and the power of being in the now, right? And the New Earth, this is Awakening to Your Life's Purpose, A New Earth, right? So the Power, or the New Earth series, or fuck. So A New Earth is kind of like, it lays the groundwork for the society we're trying to build, and a society where we are aware of our ego and kind of what that looks like. And it goes through a lot of like, listen, if you're trying to do shadow work, if you're trying to do any shadow work, this goes through all kinds of learning mechanisms and behavioral patterns, and it talks about it in terms of energy and like, oh my god, this book is so good. I cannot recommend it enough. I have this pet peeve where I refuse to listen to an audiobook if I don't own a physical copy. So I didn't physically read this book, but I listened to the audiobook, and I just kind of like, I can't tell you how many times I would just stop what I was doing and like go grab pen and paper and write something down like, oh my god, yes, this is brilliant, I love this, it's so good. Like, of all the things I'm going to show you here, this is probably my top recommendation. It's A New Earth. And additionally, his other book, The Power of Now, if you haven't read it already, don't know about it, I would also recommend that. So, Eckhart Tolle, get it. So, probably my second favorite from, well, I've only read 3 books entirely this season, so there's only 3 places, but I don't even really like the third one, so this one, though, is a really great book that I'll recommend, and it's Rise, Sister, Rise. Now, here's what I'm going to tell you. When this book started, in the beginning, I was kind of like, I was a little annoyed, because it was very woo-woo-y, and listen, you know I'm all about the woo-woo, but when I'm reading a book, I need it to be grounded. I need it to be practical, I need it to be grounded, I need it to make sense. And this book got there, but it took a while. It started kind of in the air. It like moved through the chakras backwards. Like that's what this book did, I feel like. And then worked its way right back up. This is all about the rising of the divine feminine in our collective. And at first it was just kind of anecdotal stories of her personal experiences. It's kind of about her journey. And that's kind of where I was like, all right, you had a lot of mystical experiences. Cool, got it, Rebecca. And for the record, I fucking love Rebecca. I love Rebecca. I have her other book, which is how I'm also bulking this list up. I always recommend this one a ton. This is Light is the New Black. This book is fantastic. I will link everything below, by the way. There'll be affiliate links on Amazon. Just full disclosure. This is Light is the New Black. I recommend this a lot. This is a light worker kind of book. I also own both of her decks. I love her. Okay, I do. That being said, I was in the beginning of this book. I was like, all right, Rebecca, cool, got it. I don't need to hear any more of your stories. Get to the point. Inform me. Don't tell me stories. But she got there, and I learned so much from this book. I've been kind of on a feminine journey for the last year or so, a little over a year now, where this information kind of keeps coming at me more and more, and I've been learning about the sacred feminine and the divine feminine and blah, 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 honoring these cycles. And it's been kind of this whole learning process I've been going through. And I've seen this book, and I've almost bought it 100 times, and finally I was like, fuck it, all right, I have to. Clearly I have to, because I can't seem to get away from it. It's always in my sphere. So I got it, and it's amazing. It's Rise Sister Rise, a guide to unleashing the wise, wild woman within. And whew, legit. It's great. It's fantastic. I recommend it. And also, additionally, her kind of lightworker book, Light is the New Black, is also fantastic. I read this one a couple years ago too. Now, the third book that I read this season is really popular. You've probably heard of it. You've probably seen it a bunch of times. I have picked this book up. I've even posted pictures on Instagram of I'm gonna read this book finally. Probably a few times over the last year and a half. I have a whole, I'm looking at it right now. There's a whole bookshelf covered in books that are on my backlog need to read list. And this is one of the ones that kind of kept sitting there. And finally I was like, all right, this is not even a long book. Why can't I read it? Let me just fucking do it. I got the audiobook. I listened to it. It is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Now, this is a really popular book, and I think it's probably a really fantastic book for anybody who's not super spiritual. That's where I feel like this book is a very kind of practical, it's this book to me, this is going to sound really shitty. I know I can hear how this sounds, and I don't intend it that way, but I'm going to say it my best. This book is to help self-love, self-healing, and ego awareness of people who are in the Matrix and wanting to stay in the Matrix, if that makes sense. It doesn't really go any deeper than that. It's not a very thick book. It's really well written. This guy, it's a good book. A counterintuitive approach to living a good life. Or, yeah, that's what it says. It's well written. He's a good author. I think it's a really good book. I think this book would be really, really helpful to a lot of people if they're not super spiritual. But I think I wrote notes somewhere, but they were in my phone, and I have a new phone, but I don't have my old backup. I have a lot going on right now. I'm missing a lot of things. I don't know where the notes are. I wrote notes on specifically why I had problems with this, and I was planning originally when I read this, a couple months ago, that I was going to make mention of all those specifics, and now I have forgotten them. But I remember the key point being, there was so much depth lacking. There was a lot of things that on the surface seem right, but if you dive deeper, it's counterproductive for spiritual healing and ascension and evolution and forgiveness and these kinds of things. So I think if you're gonna buy a book for somebody and they're not a very spiritual person, but you want to help them in their life and help them grow personally, this would be really, really, really good. End of usefulness. If you've got a muggle in your life and you want to buy them a book and you want it to help them, but you don't want it to be spiritual, this is good. This is what you would use it for. So Art Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. I did bulk my list up a little bit more, and that's by listing 3 books that I didn't finish. Because I actually started 3 other books. Alright, well, not this season. Some of them are older than that, but this one I started a while ago. You can see where I left off. Listen, this is a great book, but it's not even thick, but it's kind of a hard read because it's very scientific. This is a scientific approach to magic, and it goes through like, it's literally a scientific paper, but like chapters and chapters of scientific papers, like you would read if you were looking at an actual scholarly document, with a lot of data specifics and a lot of experimental specifics. And I honestly have a hard, like it just gets really heavy where I'm like, dude, I don't need all the numbers, but he'll give you all the numbers. And I'm like, I don't even know what that means. Get to the point, please. So that's why I never finish it. I'm like 2/3 of the way through. And I will go back and finish it. It's not a book that you have to read from front to back at all. They're kind of sectioned off. You see there's like full graphs in here. It's a lot. But it is really interesting information. So if you want to see some like scientific information on the study of magic or the crossover between those two realms, this would be a really good one. It's Real Magic by Dean Radin, and I will link this below as well. So I made a video like a year ago when I was first starting my channel and just kind of like inconsistently dabbling, and that was the 5 best books for spiritual growth. It's a cringy, terrible video. I started to rewatch it today. I made it about 30 seconds before I was like, oh, I can't watch this. This is awful. In that video, I recommended Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. I stand by that. That book is fucking awesome. Especially if you need to get pumped up. Like when she's done, you feel like a badass. So I went out and I bought her You Are a Badass at Making Money book. Now it's very much a law of attraction kind of your mind over matter kind of writing is what she does. So I was like, well, I'm gonna read her money book, and you know, maybe I'll finish it. But for me, it just got kind of I don't know. I read You Are a Badass like 4 years ago, and I loved it 4 years ago. I'm not sure if I would still love it. I don't know if it feels like this book or not. This book felt like 101. So if you're in the very, very, very beginning of your journey, and like you're in the very beginning of your like manifestation journey, that kind of thing, or you're learning the power of you to draw in, this would be a good book for you. But for me, it was just kind of like, yeah, I get it, but it was repetitive. Whatever. I made it to page 19, and then I remember I went through and I was like, well, maybe just skip a bit, and I skipped around a bit to look, and I was like, yeah, this is not new information. So that's why I ended up not reading it. I ended up feeling like it didn't have any new information in it. Maybe I'll go back over it some other time, because there are like little questions and stuff, and I feel like those would probably be really good prompts. But then again, I'm not rich, so maybe I do need to learn this. I don't know. My car's broken. I can't fix it. Clearly, I'm not nailing this just yet. So maybe I should reread it, but I started going through it and I was like, dude, this is boring. And I kind of flipped around and was like, ah. But if you're in the early stages of your journey, I think her original book, You Are a Badass, which I don't actually have with me because I lent it out and it's gone forever now. Or this one would probably be really good if you're just starting out. So there's one more book that I started to read but didn't finish. I made it about halfway. And that is Girl, Stop Apologizing. There's no good reason why I didn't finish it. It's not even that it's not a good book. It's a nice self-help book, like about apologizing and putting yourself first and kind of self-empowerment, that kind of stuff. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't, I don't know. Like, I'm having a hard time reading these kinds of books. They're really, really good. And I think that if that's something that you are struggling with, this would probably be a really good book for you. It's by Rachel Hollis. I lost the cover for it, so it's just black now. I got about halfway through before I kind of got bored with it. It's not that it's not a good book. It's just that I just don't feel like it's the information I need right now. It's not, I'm not really apologetic. Not anymore. I used to be. This book probably would have helped me some years ago, but I was reading it, I was like, this is a really great book. It is a really great book. It just isn't where I am right now. I'm going to get to that in just a second, so hold tight, because I'm going to show you kind of what I'm about to take on for the next season. Hopefully, if I can nail it. I don't know, I have a lot of things to do, so how I'm going to have time, I don't know. But this, I think, is really, really good if you're somebody who's chronically apologetic. Oh, sorry, oh, sorry, oh, sorry. Like that kind of thing, or if you're always putting somebody else first, you have a hard time with boundaries, like this is probably really, really good. It's one of those New York Times bestsellers, good books, so I mean, it's for good reason, and it is well written. It's just not where I am. It's not something that is interesting me. So I kind of stopped about halfway through. And that is Girl, Stop Apologizing. So those are the 6 books that I read, 3 of which I actually finished. And then I have one more that I'm going to add to the list because I read this book a while ago, but I don't know when I'll ever recommend it because it wasn't this season. And I have no other reason to make a video about it, but it is a really good book and I want to recommend it at some point, so I figured why not add it to this video, so there's some more shit in it. The Untethered Soul. I'm literally gonna cry. I'm like sentimentally attached to this book. This book, the back just says, "Who are you really?" at the top, and I think that's the synopsis of the book. The Untethered Soul, the first chunk is just bringing you out of your mind. Like there's a whole do you see how fucking damaged this book is? The whole first chunk of this book is just kind of about bringing you into the awareness that you are not your mind. It's bringing you into the space of understanding that the chatter in your mind is not who you are, and that you're the observer observing the chatter in your mind. It's about bringing you into the awareness of who you are in your soul. And your freedom, and it's really beautiful. I read this, I don't know when, long enough for it to be covered in stains and fucked up, but it's really, really good. The Untethered Soul, The Journey Beyond Yourself, Michael A. Singer. I'll link it below as well. I don't know when I read it, but it's really good. I recommend it, and I had nothing else to recommend you. So I was like, you know what book I'm going to tell them about? Untethered Soul. I do have one more thing I'm going to show you and talk to you about, and then that'll be that, and then I'm going to go edit this real quick and upload it real quick. The reason why a lot of these books I'm not finishing, and I mean honestly I actually technically I started 2 other books. I think it's 2 other books. So I also started Daring Greatly and I didn't finish that. I think there was another one too. I started getting into it. Daring Greatly is about being authentic. I got bored real fast. It's not that it's not a good book. I just was like, yeah, no shit. Like, I'm good. And I've got a few more books. I keep opening up. Like, they've been sitting there for a long time, but I feel like they sat there so long that I outgrew them. And when I got them, I needed them, and I didn't read them, and now they're just sitting there. I have very ambitious plans. Very ambitious reading goals for this next season. We'll see what happens come the Seasonal 7 Fall edition, but I'm going to show you kind of what I've got going on. So this is my goal for the summer. I have a real tendency to bite off more than I can chew, if you can't tell. This is the kind of reading that's really intriguing me right now. Like, that's what I feel really drawn to. So that's kind of what my plan is, and I will let you know how that goes on my fall series. And if it goes really well, you'll probably hear content and videos about it in the future. But regardless, if you enjoyed this tangent of a video that I'm half-assing and throwing together at the last possible second, please, if you wouldn't mind, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share, interact in some way. There's a bunch of links in the description box for all kinds of things. Podcast, merch, my social media handles, my website, booking tarot readings with me. I think there's some more stuff. There's stuff and things down there. Go knock yourself out if you feel like it. And I will hopefully get up at the crack of dawn tomorrow and film and put together the video for the observances. So let's see if that happens. Have a good day. See you in the next video.